Arabella and the Clockwork Garden, Chapter 1, The Ticking Curiosity. It was a bright, breezy afternoon, and Arabella was sprawled on the grass beneath her favorite willow tree. Lumi, her white Siamese cat, chased sunbeams across the lawn, his blue eyes sparkling excitedly. Arabella's fingers traced the golden key she'd received from Ollin in the land of forgotten dreams, wondering what new adventure might be waiting. Suddenly, a faint ticking sound drifted through the air. Tick, 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 like a tiny clock lost in the wind. Lumi's ears perked up. He darted behind a bush, tail flicking. "Find something, Lumi?" Arabella called, following her curious companion. Behind the bush, half buried in moss, was a small brass gear, engraved with swirling patterns and tiny numbers. Arabella picked it up. As she did, the golden key in her pocket began to glow, and a shimmer of light danced across the garden. Chapter 2. The Hidden Door. The ticking grew louder, and Arabella noticed a patch of ivy on the garden wall twisting itself into the shape of a door. The golden key vibrated in her hand, eager and warm. Arabella glanced at Lumi. "Ready for another adventure?" Lumi purred and rubbed against her leg. She pressed the key into the center of the ivy door. With a soft click, the door swung open, revealing a spiral staircase made of glass and brass winding down into the earth. Arabella took a deep breath, scooped up Lumi, and descended the stairs. Chapter 3. The Clockwork Garden. At the bottom, Arabella and Lumi stepped into a breathtaking world. The Clockwork Garden. Flowers of silver and gold ticked and talked, opening and closing in perfect rhythm. Butterflies with jeweled wings fluttered from gear to gear. In the center stood a grand clock tower, its hands spinning slowly. A tiny figure with a copper hat and a long winding tail appeared, a clockwork mouse. He bowed politely. "Welcome. I'm Ticker, the timekeeper's apprentice. Our garden is in trouble. The great clock is losing time, and soon, everything here will stop." Arabella's eyes widened. "How can we help?" Ticker held up the brass gear Arabella had found. "That's the missing piece, but the clock tower is guarded by the puzzle vines. Only those who solve their riddles can pass." Chapter 4. The Puzzle Vines. Arabella and Lumi followed Ticker to the clock tower, where thick vines covered the door. Each vine had a glowing face and spoke in rhymes. First vine: "I tick but never talk. I run but never walk. What am I?" Arabella smiled. "A clock." The vine uncoiled, revealing a second. Second vine: "I have hands but cannot clap. I mark the time upon your lap." Lumi batted at the vine, and Arabella laughed. "A watch." The vine giggled and let them pass. Third vine: "I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" Arabella thought hard. Lumi meowed, chasing a sunbeam. "A fire," Arabella guessed. The puzzle vines parted, and the grand door swung open. Chapter 5. The heart of the garden gears spun, and springs bounced inside the clock tower. But the great clock's heart, a crystal orb, was cracked and dim. Ticker handed Arabella the brass gear. "Place it in the heart, and the clock will need a spark of hope to start again." Arabella looked at Lumi. "Do you think we can do it?" Lumi purred and pressed his nose to the crystal orb. Arabella placed the gear inside and closed her eyes, thinking of all the adventures, laughter, and kindness she'd shared with Lumi and her friends. A warm light filled the chamber. The crystal orb glowed, the gears whirred, and the great clock chimed a joyful melody. Chapter 6. The Garden in Bloom. The Clockwork Garden burst into life. Flowers spun open, butterflies danced, and the sun shone brighter than ever. Ticker and the other clockwork creatures cheered. "Thank you, Arabella and Lumi," Ticker squeaked. "You've saved our world." Arabella smiled. "Sometimes all it takes is a little hope and teamwork." Ticker handed Arabella a tiny silver watch. "If you ever need to visit, just wind this, and the door will appear." Chapter 7. Home Again. Arabella and Lumi climbed the spiral stairs, stepping back into their garden just as the sun began to set. The silver watch ticked softly in her hand. a reminder that time is precious and adventure is always just a heartbeat away. Lumi curled up in her lap, purring contentedly. Arabella gazed at the sky, wondering where the next adventure would begin.